They've moved all the way back here to the western gate of Ajdabia. This is the last barrier between Colonel Gaddafi's advance and the town. Rebels guarding it are nervous. Their special units are fighting around Brega, 60 kilometers away, not far along this desert highway. And not far for government troops either, should they try to push forward and reclaim the town. It's less than a week since rebel forces retook the town of Ajdabia. The mood then was one of excitement and euphoria. Now the town is again on edge with Gaddafi's troops just a few kilometers away down the road. Rebels say Gaddafi's army has changed its tactics, using civilian vehicles to blend in and avoid international airstrikes. And without air cover, these inexperienced fighters are struggling. But they insist they're not disheartened.
والله ايش نقول لك والله الشباب الحمد لله متحمسين بصدق يعني برغم الأسلحة يعني مش كفى والله مو كفى لكن برضو والله لله الحمد.
The rebel military leadership is trying to change strategy. They've issued new orders to their men to impose discipline amongst this self-taught civilian army. But there is still chaos, something they don't want us to witness. Here they argue over captured prisoners, men who they claim to be African mercenaries. It's not clear how or where they were detained, nor is there any proof that they're really pro-Gaddafi fighters. One thing is for sure, they're frightened. But the rebels are looking to show any signs of success. Their goal of Tripoli seems a long way off now, but they say they can defend this town. The residents of Ajdabia aren't waiting to find out what happens next. Most have already fled. Kitty Logan, Channel News Asia, Ajdabia.
Kitty Logan now reports, while the passing of the wall is mourned by some, it's ancient history to many others.
Gino is 20, born in East Berlin. He grew up in the same city, but in a very different world. He has no recollection of the state where his life began, a place where it would have been impossible to live an openly gay life as he does now.
I really don't have a clue. I just get born there, so I really don't know. I just know the new Berlin, and I'm not really into knowing it because I live now and not in the past.
Had he lived in the former East German state, it would have been without the style he enjoys, and his every move would have been monitored by secret police. He may have even been arrested. It's just one generation since this wall separated families, friends, and split an entire nation into two parts. Many died trying to cross it. Now just fragments of the wall remain as exhibition pieces, but for some there is still an invisible divide between East and West Germany. Decades of isolation meant the East lagged behind. Even now it has higher unemployment and lower wages. Bianca has work, but like many East Germans, she's found it hard to adapt. As a single mother, she feels the communist state would have perhaps offered her more than what she has now.
It's just each for their own, and I have financial problems. I really have to think twice about going somewhere. I haven't had a holiday for ages.
Still a proud Trabant owner, Bianca was a member of Germany's communist youth movement. She remembers her childhood with affection.
I was happy to be an East German citizen, and I'm proud of it. I stand by it, and I'm very glad I grew up there.
And those wanting to look back can check in here. These hotel rooms replicate East German flats with authentic decor.
We had no computers, no mobiles, no fax, no stress. And it was all a bit calmer and more romantic. That's probably why people like to look back on those times.
The hotel owner says his design is meant to be fun rather than political.
In other hotels, people steal the bathrobes. With us, it's Erich Honecker who disappears into people's suitcases.
But plenty of people are glad the former East German leader and the state are gone for good. The past may be entertaining for some, but most are relieved it's over. And Berlin is gearing up to celebrate that. Kitty Logan, Sky News, Berlin. Hunger has hit Ethiopia again. More and more are seeking help because they don't have enough food. This baby is seriously underweight, an eerie reminder of Ethiopia's past.
How many times have you come to the feeding centre?
25 years on from the horrific famine and the launch of Band-Aid, Midjur is back.
I've seen this before, obviously. It's sad to see it's an ongoing thing, but it's heartening to see that we're actually doing something about it early on. You know, most of the children we've seen here today have been caught in time.
For these little ones, a special meal means they at least have a chance to survive.
Save the Children's working here in Maquette as part of a outpatient feeding programme. What we're doing is delivering nutritious food to children and medicines to children in this area who have become malnourished.
But Ethiopia still needs to address the root of the problem, a third year of drought and yet another failed harvest.
These crops should have been enough to sustain an entire family for about a year. But as you can see, they're now completely dried up and the harvest is ruined. There's just about enough left now to feed to livestock, which means the families who live in this area have only enough food left to last them for a few weeks.
And so Ethiopia's seemingly endless cycle of despair goes on. The causes are complex: climate change and a rapid population growth amongst them. The result is devastating for people who live from the land and nothing else.
We planted crops as usual, but the rains didn't come, so now we have no harvest. Some of our young people have already left.
All across northern Ethiopia, rivers are dry, the land barren. Most have been farmers from a young age, but now they doubt their future without aid.
People do still have some stocks left from last year, but given that their harvest last year was underproductive as well, those stocks are rapidly depleting. I think the point is we do have a short window of opportunity to intervene and to do something and to help these people, but it has to happen now.
Convincing people to donate to the same cause 25 years on is one of the challenges Midjur's facing, but he says aid can make a difference.
This may not be the famine of 1984, but aid agencies are warning that the conditions which contributed to that tragedy are the same today. And they say that without feeding centres like this one, many children could simply die.
And for some, time may be already running out. Kitty Logan, Sky News in northern Ethiopia.